Hello and welcome back to another episode of More Than a Business Live. My name is Mitch Case. I am your host. I am also the co-founder with my lovely wife of the company More Than a Meal, where we help organizations strengthen their most valued relationships by showing gratitude and appreciation one meal at a time. The reason I started this More Than a Business Live podcast has really been the opportunity to highlight individuals that are working hard day in and day out to really improve their culture, create a space that people want to be a part of and work at, and understand what really drives them, motivates them, and what makes those places of work unique. So today's episode, we are going to be talking with Mr. Justin Ricklefs here in just a little bit. But before we bring him on here to tell us a little bit more, I do want to thank our sponsor, True Captive Insurance. True Captive has been a great partner of ours that helped us get started, and they believe in healthcare that is personal and insurance that is not complicated. So if you do want to learn a little bit more about their unique captive healthcare program, go ahead and reach out to them at truecaptive.com. If you can't find that, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to get you connected with that. So we're going to be coming to you every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you're able to tune in every single week to learn some maybe tips and tricks on some of these really, really amazing leaders in our community, both in Kansas City and maybe outside of Kansas City as well. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Justin onto the show. Justin, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, man. What's up, Mitch? Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. I know we just kind of talked about like life is crazy right now with kids being sick and everything. So we're going to bring our whole selves to this. I maybe only have 20% of myself today. So we're going to try and keep it chugging along right now. But go ahead and tell us a little bit about Guild Collective. What makes, not necessarily what makes you guys unique, but tell us a little bit about what you guys do and a little bit about yourself for our audience.
Sure, man. And first, like the 20% you bring is a beautiful part of it. And I know you're in the middle of sick kids and you're in that season of life where it's like, holy smokes, this is something. They don't give you that playbook when you have the newborn feel. So
that's a fact.
The rest of us can cover your other
Facebook and Instagram to this right now, but behind me, there is some shambles going on, man.
Well, and I think it segues right into our business. I think shambles is real for lots of people, myself included. I think the full human experience is something that folks don't either want to address lots of times, or maybe don't have the skills or the know-how to. So to answer you directly, Guild Collective, we're almost 7-year-old marketing agency. Is kind of the place you can put us in the industry map, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we're on this weird quest to help brands, and what the phrase we like to use is human first brand building, where of course, like, companies have things to sell and products to offer, and nobody's being mean, but they don't really care about that. Our business included, nobody really cares about the stuff we sell. They care about themselves, they care about their life, they care about the shambles and the spectacular things that are going on with them.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we're an 11-person team, KC based. And we're on this kind of weird limb of the tree that we're going, hey, we think companies have beautiful stories to tell. They most of the time struggle with the most effective way to do that. And it all for us ties back to the humans that they're on the path with, whether that's their own internal culture, which we think brand building always is an inside job first. Mm-hmm. So it's an internal message as well as the external message, and those two things come to life in a variety of ways: websites, videos, marketing campaigns, all that stuff. But anyway, in its most concise form, we're human first brand builders.
Let's go. Well, tell us real quick about like you and your role in the company.
I will be mindful of my own shambles and meandering here, but my wife and I have been married 20 years. She is a saint. I would be a very difficult person to be married to. She's a wonderful human. Her name's Brooke. We together have 5 children. Our oldest is a sophomore in college. Our youngest is in 6th grade. 4 girls, 1 boy. And they're most certainly like my why and why this thing exists in the first place. And to answer you directly, sounds weird to say, it's like I'm the founder and CEO of Guild Collective, but like functionally, my work life is focused on how to vision cast for our team and for our clients, and hopefully grow this little thing that we're building together.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you being honest in that. I've always felt weird saying like founder or CEO, and I'm like, sometimes it's like, it truly is like chief everything officer in that spot where
Yeah.
it feels weird with all the different titles and everything, but it's just whatever needs to be done is what I'll do. Do I enjoy the big picture? Of course. It's your baby. You want to be a part of that, but when it comes down to the day to day, that changes often. So, well, let's jump into more of the impact story. So, what's something that either you or Guild Collective has done to have a direct impact on whether it's a team member or it could even be a client or a community member?
Well, this hopefully will connect really deeply to you because you're involved, actually. And when I got your question, I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to tell this story because Mitch is involved."
Okay.
So on Wednesday, October 18th, I was on the way to a meeting, and my wife texted, and she's like, "Please call me. Papa is in the hospital." That's her dad, our kid's grandpa on her side. And so I call her instantly. I'm like, "Hey, what's up? Like, I'll clear the deck. What's going on?" And she's like, "Hey, mom had to rush dad to the hospital." Anyway, he's good. Thank God. All is well. He's home and recovering. Okay. But in that moment, he's 79 years old. We're seeing the like fragility of life kind of play out. The 40s are weird where you start to get to see this stuff happen with your parents. Right. And, anyway, long and short, go to the hospital, make a call to Rachel, who's our COO at Guild. And I was like, "Hey, this is what's going on. Like, I can't go to these meetings or whatever. Can you cover?" She's like, "Of course. So sorry." Later that afternoon, I get an email from More Than a Meal. And I'm like, "Oh, this is pretty dope. Like, I know these guys." And my birthday, this is not self-serving. My birthday was the next day, October 19th. And we are like weirdly wonderful at gift giving at our place. We kind of like make competitions of it. And so I was like, "Oh, damn, that's really cool. They sent me an early birthday present. They know we have 5 kids." And so it was the mac and cheese and the dang it, it's the sausage tortellini deal.
Oh yeah, so sausage tortellini. Oh yeah.
Anyway, so we get 2 meals. I was like, "Oh man, that's so thoughtful." And I send a note in Slack to our team. I'm like, "Hey, thanks so much for the birthday present. That's amazing." And Chelsea on our team, who's like kind of the chief gift giver, she's like functionally responsible for some of that stuff. Okay. She was like, "Hey, that actually isn't the birthday present. That was because you guys are going through a weird time with your father-in-law being in the hospital." And I'm just like, "Oh, like that's talk about shambles. When people are in shambles, lots of old school traditional business model is like, hey, leave that at the door. You're here to produce, and you're here to be part of this machine to make me or whoever more money." And we've seen it come to life. And honestly, that impact story was about me. It impacted me. It was like, oh my gosh, I could text Brooke and say, "Hey, meal's covered." Our team cared enough about what we're going through, not only to like functionally cover the meetings and make sure the thing kept rolling, but like to care for our family in a weird and scary time was really wild. So thanks to your team for helping making that day a little bit more, a little less terrifying and scary,
Man, well, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to hear the challenges, but great to hear that he's on the mend, your father-in-law. But yeah, well, I mean, this was definitely not a self-promoting question that I asked there, but this is the first time I've heard anybody like a unique space where obviously like I wanted to bring you on just from your experience and knowing from our early conversations, like truly you're a different leader that I resonate a lot with. And the fact that we could be a small part of that, I handwrite most of the notes that go into those. So I understood that there was something going on, but I don't know everybody's situation. But it is, selfishly, like it is a driver for me to continue to, go through those ups and downs days when I get to see the impact. And I don't always get to hear about it. So I appreciate you sharing that too, because, it does motivate me and picks me up on days that are tough like this.
Yeah. And man, quite literally, like it was more than a meal for us, right? Like it was more than the mac and cheese was great, especially with the bacon sprinkled on top. Like can't go wrong with the bacon. But like having my wife Brooke throw that stuff in the crock pot, and have meal taken care of. And she was, helping her mom out, getting stuff to and from the house. Anyway, it was definitely more than a meal. So we're grateful.
Wow, appreciate that. All right. We'll make sure we cut that out and we'll put it on as a promo going out on future ones. But glad that, sounds like things are much, much better now. And
he's back to his very smart ass self. So he's doing fine.
There is something about those father-in-laws, like, whoo. I've got one that he is the most caring, loving papa there is around, but you can't help but laugh sometimes. He is 100%. Just a goofy dude, but I love that, man. Well, let's transition a little bit more into, let's talk more Guild Collective. Like, the fact that was a gift for the reasons why you guys were going through what you're going through and not just a birthday. To me shows, that's leadership from top down and something that's different. So, you as that leader, but Guild Collective, like, what is it that makes you guys more than a business?
Yeah, it's such a good question, man. I appreciate you exploring this stuff with folks. I don't know if my answer is like right or whatever. But for us, we think work matters. We think work shouldn't be just like, hey, wait till 5 o'clock on Friday to like live your life. Work. And what's true is like work shouldn't be your life. I've been in a season where work was identity and all consuming in the sense of like, oh, this is who you are. So we don't believe that. We don't believe work is who you are. And like when you can be not only allowed, but encouraged to bring your whole humanity to a place, things get better also. And a line I rip off from my friend John Hoffman, who runs the Liberty Chick-fil-A, he says, care and commerce can coexist. And of course, Chick-fil-A is like the beacon of like, hey, you can be really weird and caring and loving on people and make a bunch of money. Both are true. They don't have to be like mutually exclusive. That's like in the vein of what we're after for our own team first. And the kind of weird, bizarre idea is like, hey, can we make this the coolest job anybody's ever had? We're not delusional to think we're like a family in the sense of a family unit. We're a team. Like we have work to do and things to accomplish and like projects to bring to life and clients to make happy. But like that starts with us, right? Like we have to be a orchestrated team with like actual accountability and real processes and real procedures. And Rachel Burnett on our team deserves all the credit for that stuff, and Chelsea and others. But in any event, I'm not process guy, as you can tell by my meandering. So it's an inside job first of like, hey, we're not delusional to think everybody will retire here. But I look back on a job I had with this company called Learfield, and those years I was there, they were fond memories, and I built deep relationships and like did some stuff and made money and all that stuff. Yeah. So that's kind of like one side of the heartbeat, as we call it, and the other side of the pulse is how. And this is kind of bizarre, but like, how can we not only deliver like cool products and services and like make pretty logos and make websites that work and build marketing campaigns that sell the company's stuff, right? Like that's kind of low bar. Like you better be able to do that if you're a marketing agency and have an actual business.
Not going to last very long. Yeah.
Right. And so then beyond that is like this weird quest we're on to like blow someone's mind in the client experience. And what there's lots of like wonderful people who teach on this stuff. We're kind of in the Will Guidara unreasonable hospitality camp of like continuing to level up the experience. And I'll give you one really quick example because about 50 come to mind. Yeah. But last night or 2 nights ago, we have a client, National Beef. Marcy Johnson is our truck contact. She's the best. And she. I think I can share the story. I'm about to, so she can get mad at me.
You let me know. We can.
She is incredibly generous and like on a call, just like a normal status call for a project we're working on. She's like, "Oh, hey, by the way," and she just stated that she and her husband serve the homeless meals on Sundays after church, and it's been their thing since COVID. Yes. And I'm like, damn, that's really cool and generous and neat. And then later that night, Courtney on our team, who leads that relationship for us, texts me and she's like, hey, before Marcy comes into the office for this other meeting we're going to have, are you cool if I spend 50 to 75 bucks of our client entertainment budget to go buy hats, gloves, and socks and trail mix at Walmart so that I can give it to Marcy, not because Marcy needs more stuff, but because she's going to go give this stuff away on Sunday to the homeless community. And I'm like, dude, that's insane.
Oh.
You just leveled the thing up, Courtney.
Okay,
and it's like
yes.
this kind of weird competitive thing of like, a good competition. Like, how can we do more good through these relationships we're afforded the opportunity to work with?
I resonate so much with that. I'm like trying to like halfway look back at, all right, here we go. So there's like two books that I'm absolutely obsessed with. One is Raving Fans, Ken Blanchard, where just, people that like your products not good enough anymore. You need to be raving about it. And so how do you go about differentiating yourself? And I see this both from as a team member or I shouldn't say team member, like an organization separating themselves to potentially bring in a new team member, attract individuals to the organization, or even on the sales side, what you guys are talking about. How can we differentiate ourselves? And so much you can learn. I've even taught groups this or given talks and keynotes around this is so much of how you can care for somebody to differentiate yourself goes either unsaid, where you need to be aware of your surroundings. Maybe you're seeing a picture or a jersey that there was something along those lines that you can just pick up on that they're being there, but also things that are said candidly, just in that sense of, maybe I can't meet up on Sunday because, we go and do this every single Sunday. And like, oh, wait a minute. There is a way that I can truly care for this person so much in a way that's not, I'm trying to get something out of them.
100%.
But good intentions to say, 100%. Whether or not they move forward with something or not, let's just go because this is the right thing to do.
It's good. It's how can we increase more good? 100%, man. And it all for us ties back to, and this is what we try to teach our clients to think like too, is not only like it's how do you want them to feel when they engage with you? The brand you're building goes before you, and we don't get to control the narrative of what you think about the company. The brand is the story they tell when we're not in the room. And so when they feel something, that's Seth Godin, by the way, and he's the GOAT.
Amen.
Yeah. But when you're not able to control the narrative, what do they say about you? And it all comes back to the psychology of how did you make them feel? Did you make them feel known, understood, and celebrated and address their pain? Or did you show up to the thing and start talking about all your crap you're selling? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Even in the sense of like meals that we're trying to take care of other people with, like nobody cares. They're not waking up early in the morning stressing about, how am I going to use more than a meal, or how am I going to use Guild Collective? They got their own things that they're worried about, concerned about. So how can you care for 100%. Them in that moment? Well, we could literally talk 30 minutes on that, and maybe we will sometime soon. But let's start diving into you, man. Like, what continues to motivate you to show up every single day when maybe it's not the best, you're not your best self that day, but we're blessed to be able to serve the people that we get to serve on our team. So what continues to motivate you day in and day out?
I smile because I think of your 20% shambles comment. It's like, there's a lot of days, especially if you're kind of on the hook, building a thing, like being the entrepreneur, taking the swing, doing the whatever, is like, there's a lot of 20% days. And there is a lot of days where you're like, I don't know, man, like I'm scared. I'm uncertain. I think the vulnerability and the bravery required to just keep going and persevere is rooted, for me at least, in the way I kind of phrase it, I think in my mind is like my affections for my family, my affections for our clients, and my affections for the team is like those carry through some dark days. And like bigger than that, it's like faith and other stuff, but like but like the functional, like, all right, man, there's old version of me would have looked to someone else to like solve the problem or blame. New version of me that I'm very much like, I got a long way to go and a lot of work to do. New version of me like looks around and is like, they're looking to me for some answers. Like I got to lead and be brave and be honest and be open and be vulnerable if I'm an idiot and screw it up. Like all of those things are kind of true. So anyway, I think like in a somewhat of a tight sentence is like, the affections of my soul kind of buoy the waves. It's like, no, we're still above water. Some days are really scary and I feel like we're gonna drown, but like that blue sky of the deeper desires are kind of what carries the tough days, at least for me.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you sharing that too, because like I'm sitting there smiling and laughing because it's you have some of your highest highs and lowest lows kind of come through, and that can literally change within a hour. I remember not getting a project, and then an hour later we got a project. So I was at the extreme low and the extreme high within 60 minutes. It was
dude, it's psycho. It's like a legitimate psycho experience. Like you can't. It's like having a kid. It's like it's cute in the hospital, then you take it home. It's like, what do I do with this thing?
Yeah, here's life. It's coming at you right now. On those days, you kind of alluded to, and I'm asking you this question without prepping you for it whatsoever, but like you being the one for the answers. And then sometimes, we aren't really the ones that are going to have the best answers. How do you go through those times when your team members are looking at you and, we need an answer, Justin, we need an answer. And maybe sometimes the right answer is not your answer. Like, how do you build a collaborative space, a safe space for them to recognize your vulnerability and saying, I might not have the best answer. What are tell us maybe some of those types of situations maybe you've done as far as building that collaborative approach.
Rachel, our COO, she probably gets annoyed more than she enjoys working with me. But it's fun because she's now doing the same thing. But like when I'm met with a question or like, hey, make this decision, almost every time, sometimes my ego will get involved and I'll feel like I have the right answer or whatever. Most of the time, at least I'm intentional and I'm conscious and I try to listen and understand what they're saying and be like, I'm not really sure. What do you think? It's so simple, but like giving them some shared responsibility, giving them the empowerment and the clarity to make a decision. Like I tell our group all the time, I make way more mistakes than anybody else here, 100%. And like giving them the freedom to fail, giving them the freedom to try, giving them the ownership hook of like, I got to make the call here. And of course, on like huge things like hiring somebody, firing somebody, that kind of stuff. Like, of course, I'm going to have a very clear and strong opinion. Doesn't mean I'm always right, but like the mindset for me is curiosity. And I just reflect back on my old bosses, and it's like, I'm kind of a bad manager. So like, I don't really know what to do here, but like, what do you guys think we should do? And the leaders in my life who asked me questions and gave me a voice are the ones that I hold the fondest affection towards. So anyway, I think like the practical reflex is like, it can be used to manipulate for sure, but that's not my intention. The posture is like turning it back to them. Like, I don't really know. You're closer to it than I am now. So like, what do you think we should do? And to see that like kind of saturate through, we're not a big team, we're 11 people, but to see that saturate through the organization where people then care enough to like bring ideas and solutions to the table, and like instead of relying on some one bottleneck person to make the decision. Like that's kind of how we're doing it.
Well, you got to create a safe environment for somebody to feel like they can do that or try something and go with it, and then it doesn't work out. Like how are they going to feel? So making sure that they understand that. So I can definitely appreciate that type of environment, and from past bosses and other companies I've been a part of, like that always felt, I always did feel that from those individuals and leaders, and something that obviously we want to carry through and exists in your organization now. All right, man, we are starting to run out of time here. So I'm going to try and wrap us up here real quick. If anything that you said kind of resonated, if anybody's hitting a 20% day and you just want to talk to Justin or myself about it, I'll defer you to Justin first, because he's going to give out the best way to go ahead and maybe reach out to them. Whether you are interested in learning more about Guild Collective from maybe potentially working there in the future, or potentially hearing more about their services, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you, Justin?
Yeah, man. We're like guildcollective.com is the website, and then I'm meandering my way through LinkedIn, sharing weird stuff. So you can just look at my LinkedIn feed and carry on some of these weird trails of thought that are in my brain.
Go follow him. You'll get some real thought-provoking experiences through that.
There's some 20% writing days. That's for damn sure.
I love it. Well, if you can't find Justin there, just shoot me a message. I'd be happy to get you connected with him as well. Justin, man, I'm so appreciative of you taking the time,
dude. You too.
To do this.
You too.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do. But in the sense of how much we appreciate, my wife and I always want to make sure that we show that through our actions and not just our words too. So for coming on this show, we always allow the individual to send out a meal to somebody that they feel is deserving of that meal for whatever particular reason that may be. So if you've got somebody in mind, and maybe want to share a little bit about why that is, I'll let you share as much or as little as you want to in regards to that.
Well, don't invite me to share much because I'll overextend my welcome here on time. I'm watching your clock. I'll be brief. I will share one gentleman. His name's Rocco Mazzella. He's the founder of Venue Smart. They're a client of ours. He's a friend. He and I were colleagues back in the day at the Chiefs. He is a paraplegic. Rocco, forgive me if I said that wrong. He's in a wheelchair. The dude is just he's an absolute gem of a human, and he cares deeply about the client experience. Today is his 50th birthday.
Let's go. Happy birthday, Rocco.
Let's send him some sausage tortellini or something if you guys
Hey, we'll let him pick it, but we'll make sure to get that out to Rocco. And
sweet.
Yeah, gotta love another Scorpio running around. Are you a Scorpio? Are you close enough?
I'm Leo, I think.
You're Leo? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
November.
I'm bad on that. I need to know that.
Okay. My wife, it's one of the first questions my wife asks anybody. She just needs to know, and she can peg you exactly who you are and what you do based off of that. But
she can diagnose me quickly.
Yeah, she'll know you before you know. I appreciate that. What we'll do is we'll connect offline and make sure we can get that out to Rocco and celebrate that with him. So, Justin, man, again, appreciate you coming on the show. For those of you guys that are continuing to be on here 27 minutes down the road here, make sure to tune in every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be coming to you with just amazing leaders inside of Kansas City and outside of Kansas City. Next week, we have Dennis with the Miller Group coming in. He's got a unique perspective in his role within the Miller Group that can really talk about what it looks like from an engagement side, benefits side, all the different ways that you can truly create a unique experience for your team members to help with retention and attraction. So make sure to tune in next week with that. Justin, you have any last words you want to say?
No, man, just keep up the great work. We appreciate what you and your team have done, and we've started to weave your services into our client gifting strategies, and appreciate all. Hope you guys get on the mend with your family, and thanks for making time today, my friend.
Yeah, we will get there. So definitely appreciate that too, Justin. So yeah, tune in next week. Appreciate your time, and until next time, we'll see you later.
See you. Thanks.